Hey, how you doing, Pietro?
Good, you Christian. Sorry, I'm just gonna close up this here. All right, here we
Do
are.
your thing.
All right. So, first off, your hairstyle changed since I
I
last
know,
saw
I
you,
know. Hold on, hold on.
and it goes well with your T-shirt.
Yeah, it kind of matches. Look, so I'm an actor, and I had to
Yeah.
buzz cut it for a role. I had to play this like computer tech genius for NCIS, and I cut my hair.
Nice.
So don't mean to surprise you.
No, it's all right. It's all good. I
Yeah.
love the frizziness of the previous one because I used to be curly also, so
Oh
I
yeah.
could manage. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
the
Yeah.
curls.
I know, eh?
Yeah,
Hard to manage.
I will say, if we are on the topic of hair, anytime that Actum posts a video, the top hater comment last time they said, I'm not going to listen to a guy with a permed curly hair to tell me what to do. And then this morning we got a comment that said, someone tell this Chinese uh, someone tell this Chinese blonde hair dyed guy communist to shut the fuck up. So they
Oh
always
my
have a
God.
problem with the hair. I'm like,
Hmm.
wow, you can't do anything.
No, there's always going to be something for those who are suffering and want to just keep on suffering in some ways.
And we just carry on.
But it's the first time I look at you and I see, do you know the movie Only the Strong?
No,
Like the Capoeira movie about the Brazilian martial art form?
no, only the strong.
No. Okay, there's this actor that you just suddenly strike me as looking as because of the whole buzz cut and everything. So
Oh, yeah.
I'll send it your way afterwards
Okay,
because
cool.
I'm not sure what his name is.
So, yeah, by the way, so where are you right now?
Quebec, Canada,
Oh,
near
nice.
Montreal. I'm on the south shore of Montreal. And you?
I'm in Los Angeles. I
Okay.
just came back from Canada, but in Vancouver,
Mm-hmm.
in September. We worked there for a few months,
Yeah, a lot
and
of TV shows doing down there, right?
that's right. Most productions go over there to Vancouver
Yeah.
and Toronto, but we always say that on a weekend we have to go to where you are in Quebec. They
Yeah.
said it's like a cool artsy town. I'm not too
Uh-huh.
familiar with it, but
Yeah. No, Montreal is well known and appreciated by tourists and people visiting. Yeah, for sure. I'm not a specialist or anything, and yeah, just up front, it makes me think about just saying that out loud. Like, we spoke by email just a bit, and I've told you how much like I kind of admired you and Michael since I discovered like you first, then you with him, and I feel that you guys are like, and it's not. I'm not diminishing myself, but way more like cultivated and have more like I don't know like life experience or life thoughts, deeper things. Like I'm more like an action guy, like all about action, less about brain stuff or whatever. So yeah, I don't want to always make it back to being superficial or anything, but I just can't take it as deep as you did with Michael for sure. But I mean, the problem I'm having is expressing those type of thoughts because when I heard you guys talking, I'm like, these guys are saying how I'm feeling, are saying how I want to like expose the way I see things, but I don't have the tools of communications developed enough to do so. So just to say, I mean, because I want to keep it real and
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, there's two things here. Right now, there's a really popular Netflix live event where the guy climbed the building skyscraper. You saw that?
Yeah, I saw parts of it.
Well, I was watching it the other night and I was like, wow, I wonder how he's going to talk and express his thoughts. He can't. He can't. It's like his vocabulary is limited. He's too much of a bro. And I was sort of shocked because the whole world was paying attention to him and he didn't have the words. But what I admired about that is, of course he doesn't, because he spends all his time actually doing it.
Mhm.
Sometimes like the people who work so hardest on the thing, whether it be like software engineering or rock climbing, they're so about the work. Even rappers, they have their talent and their musical rhythm, but when you interview them, they don't really know. They don't know. So it goes to say that there's a kind of an authenticity to not really being able to speak as good as your actions. So I kind of respect that. So I guess I'm a fake, right?
No, absolutely. I'm pretty sure you're not. I've heard enough about you, and you know, explored the thoughts you have, and the actions you're taking also. I mean, ACTUM is the, like I learned the Spanish
Mm.
way of, not the Spanish, but the
Latin, yeah, yeah.
Latin way of saying action, right? Taking action. So
Hmm.
that's really awesome. And I
Hmm.
said it right? ACTUM, not
Yes, that's
ACTUM.
right.
I've got all these references from the podcast, right? I watched it twice actually. I was so amazed, and yeah, I hope that I can at least someday reach bilingual people enough so I could share. I've shared it in private already a few times, but
Mm.
actually I am thinking of sharing it publicly one day and saying, you know, guys, if you're bilingual at all in my French community and you could understand anything these people are saying, just listen to this very carefully. And I mean, if you're not in tune with the majority of what they're saying, you know, hop off my mission, because we're not we're not gonna, you know, not gonna connect in the future when it, you know, starts growing and all, because we share that vision, you know, of humanity and dignity.
Hmm.
I love what you stand for.
Uh, I do want to, reach your French audience. I keep seeing these European videos where um, these are more like European speakers over there, not in
Mhm.
Canada, but they're always saying, "You Americans, you guys are so tough because you're so mentally ill and you're so surrounded." And they can't see. And I understand what they're coming from, because the only thing that cycles in our heads as Americans is like bad news and like killings, or like ICE, or like immigration, or like the threat of another war. We always think about these things because it's so relevant and discussed. But the problem with that is when you do something like ACTUM and you let it enter Americans' minds, they battle with it. They're angry. They think that you're fraudulent. They
Mhm.
go, "Ah, it's a scam," and
Mhm.
then they don't trust you or whatever it is. But I feel like if you gave it to a global audience, let's say, like, I don't know what Vietnamese people will think, or even like if you send this video in Barcelona, all the Spanish people watch it. I wonder if they're so loose and not as mentally ill, where they're able
Mhm.
to see rationally, like, oh, okay, people living for free actually probably produces a better society, because you have a freedom to do what you want instead of what you're forced to do. Forced work, force this, force that, not seeing your family, not. So there's something about the American audience that is especially resistant.
Hmm. Yeah, I'd say North America, because I think up here we're just the same for most part. And I did realize within, you know, my own 5 year experience that like a lot of different cultures we have around here, immigrants and, you know, people who
Mm.
are well established but from different cultures, they do tend to get what I do more, and support it more, and want to make it real, you know.
Mhm.
uh, whether as people who are like from Quebec, French born and raised, uh, we've been conquered by the English folks. Like in the, I'm not a historian or anything, but that's kind of a story. And we lost the battle and this and that, but we still got our little part of the country, you know, to stay French. But then we have this mentality where, yeah, I mean, anybody who's rich is a fraud or is a scammer or is somebody abusing some type of, you know, system or people. And I'm not in a disagreement with that totally. But anything that's like kindness directed, or wellness directed, that is also seen as potentially a
Yeah.
fraud, or potentially. So I really, really connect with what you're saying, and I'm kind of
Mhm.
I'm kind of you know, I'm not looking for the word, but surprised and also relieved that you're
Mm.
going through that also, because I thought it was like not just me, but more on the French side, because I see all these. I don't know if you know, like CJ011, or if you know MD Motivator, Travis
No.
Doodle, people who are all about kindness, doing these kindness videos and have millions of followers, and they do like GoFundMe's for people they discover and want to help out, and they
Mhm.
raise millions or thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars for these people. I'm like, you wouldn't see this in my culture, because the money would not flow, because people are too afraid that it's a scam, or they're
Mm.
all about the what's in it for me instead of the big picture, like what's in it for us as a society and as a world, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The the IRS here in America, they have to review every nonprofit, and we got a call yesterday. It was so crazy. I actually recorded it. Maybe I'll post it online. It was insane. Here's what they did. They called us and said, "Hey, we were reviewing your mission. We're going to revoke your tax status. You're just rejected." We said, "What?" And then they said, "We're taking care of it. We're taking care of it." But he goes, "Yeah, I don't see how you guys are a charitable cause." And I said, "Well, we're a charitable cause because we provide permanent shelter." And he goes, "Right, but you guys are doing it to everyone. Your contest lottery is so open that," he said this, check this out. He said, "Your thing is so open that if Elon Musk decides to apply to your house, you're going to give him a place to live." And he was sort of pretty upset because he hates the 1% so much that he doesn't think universal housing helps the world. And we had to very carefully explain to him that if we want to achieve any kind of true fairness, a universal application is the most fair, because the core isn't just helping the poor. It's understanding everyone's in need. Everyone's in need. The idea of rent is not actually just for a certain social class. It is for everyone. And to be fair, Elon Musk does not want to live in an ACTUM residence. These are small, basic shelters. It has to be his primary residence. That's our rule. This has to be the one place he lives. So are gazillionaires really going to live here? No, they won't. The people who are going to apply are probably desperately in need. And he goes, well, and then he doesn't have a reason, but it was so crazy. They didn't think it was a charitable cause, and we're pushing back on them. It's going towards more successful. But as for altruism and doing things for just truly kind reasons, it's so okay for them for there to be haters, because we've been burned too many times. I'm kind of distrustful too, but like, I'm kind of rambling here, but there's something about as we get older and time going by where there's almost nothing left to do. Like, what is interesting, Pietro? There's nothing really interesting. I can wait for some cool movie to come, or maybe a new girlfriend enters my life, but it almost seems like you run out of things to spend your time on, and the only thing you're supposed to do is, okay, I'm here with other people. What's up with that? What's up with the other people? What's up with this? We're all here. We don't know why. It's kind of suspicious. Why are we here? Just like care for each other. Yeah. I feel like there's nothing left. I can't imagine what like did you always want to do something like this, or did it come later?
I think deep down it was always there, but I mean, I can't pretend that it was always like clear or a mission or something I wanted, to enact on. It came like in those past 5 years, like in mostly in 2021, when because of the pandemic, I lost the job that was knitted for me, like the perfect job I finally found, because since I finished high school and we're supposed to go through like a CJEP or a university or whatever, like I was supposed to go there. I was like the whiz kid, and everything was easy, and I was supposed to go far and do all these studies and become something. And because exactly of this communication skills that I don't possess, and the way it weighed on me back then, and I was like I was bullied a lot also, being the whiz kid and all that. So I didn't do my oral presentations. So I was refused in the next step of the school system because of these particular notes, which had nothing to do with what I tried to go study in, right? I followed a friend because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, the system failed me. I didn't have inspirations in my family or whatever that, I want to follow in this footsteps or these footsteps. I just, finished school. I'm like, what am I going to do next, right? And so I followed my friend who was going to do carpentry. What's carpentry, French, oral speaking, whatever, who cares, right? But they stopped me. So then I recycled myself into something else. And then, all my life was about opportunities presenting themselves, and just easy choices, or choices that I had to make with, like two good answers, right? Like good resources. And that's why today, we could circle back to that, but I help people who are lacking resources. That's the way I see things. So I was lucky, but all my life I did jobs. I had sort of careers, but nothing was really, passionate or whatever. So this last job I had for 6 years prior to the pandemic was the job of my dreams, right?
Oh,
Because I was basically paid annually this big chunk of money, whether I was, watching Netflix at the office or doing something really important, because in between, as long as my job was done, the person who was paying me was like a comedian, and for him it was an investment, right? For him, he had to be creative. You talked about it with Michael. To be creative, you have to be bored, right? So or it helps. So if you're always in this, okay, my business meeting, my dentist meeting, my children this, my girlfriend that, my house this, my house that, my plumber's coming, the whatever, you can't be creative. So he wanted to be 100% focused on creative. So I was his like right-hand man, or his personal assistant, if you want. I call it like life double, right? I was, his life double. I was knitted in all his transaction and bank accounts and whatever. And I was just living his life, through this job, but doing things he wanted to be concentrated on other things. So that was me, because I'm multi-talented. I'm not passionate about one thing, but about serving, about being useful, and whatever life taught me, I got, I learned on my own, or watching, tutorials or whatever. So this job got me doing like emails and paperwork, but also instead of calling a plumber or calling an electrician or calling somebody to repair something, I just look at a tutorial and do it myself and say, hey, I saved you $350. He's like, oh yeah, super,
that's
right?
So cool.
So he was really happy about that.
Oh, so you would pick up these little like miscellaneous skills, do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. My whole life was about that, because at some points I was lacking, financial resources, or I had all these kinds of friends who looked up to me to, hey, I know this guy is a reliable guy. If I call him in, he'll come and help. So something I never did, I was assisting, looking, asking for questions. So I learned a lot like that, right? So that was basically my job, doing anything and everything he'd need. And for me, that was, paradise. And then the pandemic hit, and all the comedians suffered of it, right? And so, and when I say comedian, is more like stand-up comic type thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we say comedian, but anyways. And then, so when I lost that job, that's when the idea started coming up. Like I was, okay, I got to feed my kids. I got to keep this roof over our heads. My girlfriend's doing her share. I'm doing my share. It's not about, paying for everything or whatnot. And so I'm like, what can I do with my life? And the question about what to do to pay the bills wasn't the right one for me, because that's what I was taught. Do something so you could pay your bills, right? That's what we're taught. So, and that didn't work for me. Like, and I was like 40 or 30 something at back then, the beginning of 40, right? And I was like, okay, let's look at the picture differently. And that's where it resonates a lot with what you guys do. Is if I was financially free, let's say I'm a millionaire, my kids are taken care of, my grandkids are taken care of, what would I spend my life doing? Not, Netflix and chill, and not going around the world. It's not something that calls up to me, right? I'd serve people. So I'd say, oh, maybe I should do that for one complete month. Just pause my life, 1 month of volunteering, tell people whatever you need. If I could do it, I'll say yes. If I can't mess it up, I'll say yes. Just go ahead and ask me. And once that month is over, maybe I would have found what I like to do in one thing I never did, and tried, like cleaning out gutters. Oh, I never did this. Maybe I could start a gutter cleaning company, right? Because I like going heights or whatever. And, what came on is that I said, okay, let's do it. Let's do it for 1 month, and then we'll see, what I'll do about my life. And in sharing that idea, I realized a lot of things that made me sad, but also gave me a second, because at first it was a bit selfish, right? Like, I wanted to do that because I felt good helping people. So it was kind of for me, like, get resourced and see, okay, after losing this dream job, what am I going to do? I'll do stuff that I like and help people and be useful, and then we'll see. But then when I spread it on my personal Facebook page and people were like, oh, that's so inspiring and whatnot, maybe, I could check on my neighbor, see if she's doing okay. It's true that we don't stop enough, out between work and schedules and responsibilities to check out on people, how they're doing, and my grandma or whatever. I'm like, oh, I could maybe inspire people. That's nice. And then people were like, yeah, but what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to know what you're going to do? Like, what do you want to vlog it or prove it or something? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll vlog it, no problem. And then I was just waiting. Like, I sent out the invitation for people to ask for free help 1 month prior to actually starting the free help. So I was like, you guys, okay, ask me whatever you need. If I can say yes, I'll say yes. And 10 days passed, no requests.
Oh, really?
And I started posting about it. Guys, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And then people started, emailing me or trying to reach me and say, yeah, you know what? My brother-in-law told me to be careful. This may be a scam. You may come and put some draperies or stuff, and then my TV will disappear in 2 weeks because you spotted it and you sent somebody else over. And or you'd probably come and do some work, then hand out your hand, wait for a tip, and if it doesn't come, you're gonna break everything or steal shit. Or I'm like, whoa, no, we're not gonna live in a world on my watch where this is what people think about kindness and altruism. No. So that's what kickstarted the whole thing into becoming like more than just for me, but it was still going to be just a month, right? Because I have kids, I got to pay bills, right? And then in doing it, I felt, no, this is my calling. I have to go through with this. And just like you said, on the plane, and we'll circle back to that, I'm like, no, I got to do this, right? I got to keep on going, because the impacts and the benefits for the whole society and the world, if maybe, I hope, is too important and necessary. And I have kids growing up, and I saw my daughter was 4 at the time, going, when she's 14 or 16 or 18, and she has all this pressure just to have a roof over her head and pay the bills and make ends meet. Do I want her to be passionate about life and do something for others and be creative and be passionate about something she's doing? Or is the only offer that gets people out, or these type of people out of suffering, is doing things that probably make them suffer, like NPCs or porn or showing up on camera and being all teasy and all that, and pictures of her naked feet or whatever, just all these options that people have to monetize so like easily and quickly within our system, but nothing that monetizes is useful for the society. All these things that monetize so easily. So that's why I came into the idea, like, okay, maybe I just not monetize to become rich, but monetize what I do, so I could at least make ends meet while contributing to others and to the society on a greater scale. Because I mean, that's more decent than monetizing on people's sufferings and dependencies, right? Like somebody giving out money to a porn star or to an OnlyFans or whatever, they're kind of suffering, right? So they're like, they're getting all like, they're putting aside their suffering while they're having this type of spontaneous temporary pleasure. It's like alcohol, it's like drugs, but it's something else that they have to pay for. But something that's beneficial for others, we can't monetize that.
Right.
There's nonsense there for me.
You know what, too, is the missing hole here? And this it creeps me out, okay? Sometimes when you work these ordinary jobs, the last job I worked at, I think I was a front desk agent at a hotel. And I would work, and I would see that my coworkers, while a good half or a majority of them were quite simple and ordinary, there were a couple people who worked really hard at just sweeping the floor. It wasn't their job to sweep the floor. They were actually the computer person, but they wanted to keep the front area clean, and then they would wipe it down, and she looked like a peacock because all the time she was like this and proper and smiling. And I realized that this was a person who actually had so much goodness in her, but it was trapped and kept inside of a job.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's so interesting to think about the talents and gifts that people have that they can't let out, but they actually, what is it called? It's like a routing error. They give it to the wrong place, which is
Mm-hmm.
you're just making the CEO money. But what you're doing is saying, hey, I have something. It shouldn't go to waste, nor should it go to just being the life double. It's so funny, the life double of another person. And I like it's enough to keep you up at night to think about all the people whose lives are being, thrown away. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you'll find those people and it's like, dang, you got to get out of Cincinnati, man. Get out
Mm-hmm.
of this small town. You're meant for something more.
Yeah.
And whatever that more is, it's not always, be a reality TV star. It's you have a gift. Like, you make every one of us laugh. You know how hard it is to make every one of us laugh? Like, there's 20 people here. None of us really like you, but you're so funny. But they do something. It's so great.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That's the type of like world or creation I'm trying to have people come in with me and do, is that I want my kids to feel enough, right? Because when you're a kid, when you're learning stuff, you're developing skills and passions, and then let's say you're really really good, like you said, at making people laugh or playing piano, and then just playing piano just to sell records isn't enough. You want to teach piano, let's say, but then you go into the world, and if you want to teach piano, the world is so expensive, you have to charge this much just to make ends meet. But if you charge this much, how many people who are maybe potentially incredible at piano can't afford it, right?
Mhm.
Or you go get a job and your worth is based on criteria that nobody chose except for the market, the capitalism or whatever, and so you're worth this much, but this guy's gonna get the job because you're at the same level, but he smiles better,
Mhm.
or he smelled better that day. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing. We're never enough. We always have to compete like against everything in life instead of just living it. There's this saying in French that we say is the equivalent to I don't know what in English, but word for word is, you got to win your life, like win your
Mm.
wager, like
Oh.
win your wager, and we say win your life. I'm like, I hate that expression.
Mhm.
I won my life when I was the sperm who won the race, right? That was me. I won that race. Now I won my life by winning that race. Now can I live my life, please?
Yeah.
Yeah. And my life, and I think life of all human beings is about contributing to the people around us, at least close by, and then some, right?
Mhm. You know what people's counter argument to that will be? Most of the time, they're gonna say this. They're gonna say, "Well, if you wanted it that bad, you just do it." So, but the problem with that argument is the burden of this living under your survival threshold, so trying to pay for insurances and bills and taxes and rent. Of course, yes, we do have the internet and you can chat GPT, and maybe if you want to become an NBA star, you really could practice your basketball, but it actually comes down to it's not the poor person's fault that they don't succeed all the time, because sometimes being raised in a community where no one around you introduces you to that thought, you don't even know there's another way of life. Some people have no possible imagination of an alternative way of living because the 99% of the input that they hear from their brother, from their friend, anyone they work with is life is shit, this is how it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'll just this is the silliest example, but it's true. Like, my family, they don't go to the doctor. Like I'm Filipino, so Asian people, they don't like going to the dentist and doctor. And I actually didn't know what supplements were. I didn't know that a pill where you take your multivitamin existed literally until 2 years ago. Could you believe that? When I walked past, I always thought, oh, the gummies are for if you have a flu or a cold.
Yeah.
my family never told me what a supplement was. And now I eat supplements and I buy everyone supplements because I'm like, take your vitamin D, take your magnesium and fish oil and turmeric, you need it. But it's where you're raised where you realize that's not an option. They don't tell you what your social security number is, your medical insurance, your parents, they hide it from you so that you never know that you have a doctor. I don't know who it is. So what I'm trying to say is there are some people in the world whose families and communities can't push you for a better life, and it's not the person's fault.
Exactly.
They can't. How are they going to know?
Exactly. And that's what I was saying before, is that it's all about the resources, right?
Yeah.
So like when I had a struggle and I had, let's say every choice is like a good choice or bad choice to say. I mean, I was struggling between which choices to make, but then the right resources to get me on the right path happened, right? So I always had like something better, a little better. I was never like in need, or I never became that poor that I was living off, the system or whatever. But the people that once you find out and you start looking, or you start just listening, is that people who end up in need or poor, they didn't have the resources back then, right? And one wrong choice that they had to make, and they made because of the resources they did not have, brought them further along, their problems and what made them suffer.
And the root solution is actually not just giving them a book and say, here's your instruction manual of life. It is a good resource, but to me, it's actually, the root would be stop pressuring them to work for their own life. The French quote, because what it'll do is it frees their time to finally think. And that's the most underrated currency, is time to yourself, the private personal thoughts you develop. And I'll illustrate an example here. It's a little graphic. I don't know if your audience is okay with it, but when I was a struggling actor, I would just eat the Annie's Kraft mac and cheese, the 99-cent box mac and cheese. And again, my family, friends, they don't tell me things. I live alone. So I ate that for a year. So I bought bulk of 365 and I would eat that for a year. And I would shit blood. Every time I shit, it was blood, because you're not supposed to eat the same thing every day. I think my gut was being ruined because I had no nutrients. And also it's like fake pasta. So I ate it for a year, and then someone told me this is a resource, through a conversation, they're like, what do you eat? What are you on? Do you go to the gym? And I was like, I don't know. I just eat Kraft and then mac and cheese. And they're like, how many days? I said, every day for a year. And they go, you need to stop. And I said, what? And I told them my shit is red. Isn't yours? And they said, your shit is not supposed to be red. And I'm like, fuck. So I know it sounds like you're an idiot because I was 22. You should know these things. But like, again, sometimes if you don't, and then, so here's the point. When I finally booked the acting role was around the time that person had that conversation with me. And when you're an actor, you book a role and then you have the whole year free. That's how it works. And you have the freedom to actually think what's wrong. So it's actually not just your diet, it's the supplements, it's simple things like, how is my self-talk? Am I mean to myself? Oh, do I need to schedule a dentist appointment? I haven't seen it in years. The freedom to finally think is taken when all you can focus on is paying rent. So I feel like one of the best goals for ACTUM is give people back what they've lost. It's completely unfair to take that from them, because as you know very well, the 9 to 5 is not 9 to 5 because you have to drive to work and it's now 6. Then you have to make yourself food and now it's 7. And then the whole time you're dreading work and then it's midnight. So it takes from you. And so, yeah, all I was trying to say with the shitting blood example is if you don't have enough time to think about yourself, you will deteriorate. And the natural arc of paying rent and just living is actually destructive. It's destructive. You don't have anything for you anymore or your kids.
100%. And I think you touched on this with Michael, is that it's by design, right? You guys said something along these lines, like the system isn't broken, it's by design. I mean, people who benefit from us living and acting and thinking or not thinking this way is who make it a reality for the majority, right? And a few of us who do go through something or stop at one time, and that's, I think that's also why there's this epidemic of life coaches and life seminars and all this that are truly life changing. I've went through a few that were actually not scams and life changing, but you have to go through something like that to take a step back and open yourself to there's other ways of thinking, of doing, and of acting that are not shown to us, like you said, so that we could better our world and then other people's world and so on, instead of just saying in the status quo of, I know there's nothing we can do about it, and then just go on with life. And that makes me think of a quote I sometimes use about Einstein, who says, I don't know if you know this one, the world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything.
That's good. That's very good.
Yeah. I love that one, And you were talking before about, I'm not sure, because you said with Michael, you had a peanut brain. I'm kind of like that. It's always jumping around here and there. I wouldn't say that about you, but you said it yourself, right? I'm a bit like that also. And there was thing I was thinking before is like, I don't know if you know about the 300 balloon experiment.
No.
That one's really good.
What was that?
Because since I have a problem like communicating my thoughts and ideas, I usually use something that already pre-existed and adapt it, or just say it the way it is, to help people understand how I see life, right? And the 300 balloon experiment was conducted by some teachers, or a teacher, in a school environment, where he took 300 balloons, gave them to his 300 students, or all around the school students, and said, write your name on a balloon. And then they take the balloons, they put them in the hallways, and they mix them up. And they told people, like, hey, you got 5 minutes to find your balloon. So everybody scrambled through the hallways and fighting and whatever, trying to find their balloons. 5 minutes, timer rings, everybody back to class. Did you find your balloon? Almost nobody found their balloon, right? And so they said, okay, now that you're all soaked up and out of breath, you've got 5 more minutes to get the balloon. But the thing is, this time around, the instructions are, you pick the first balloon that comes into your hand, you look who it belongs to, and you bring it to him.
Oh.
Within 5 minutes, everybody had them.
No way. Are you serious?
That's the experiment. And the saying goes, when you take care of somebody else's needs or happiness or objective, you find your own. Your own comes to fruition, right? So
that's beautiful, man. I love that.
Yeah, the 300 balloon experiment.
Yeah, and you too. Too. A lot of when you post on social, I post on social, people see the results, but a lot of these ideas that we have came from a lot of drunk conversations at night with your friends that needed to leave the room. So it's more like the amount of times I'm sitting, just on the floor, and I'm talking to someone just like, shit, the world needs to change. You know what they say? They also say, this is actually an awful setup. This is the worst video game ever. It is so backwards for human freedom and time that it makes me feel like worthless all the time. That must have happened 30, 40 times. But you get so tired of it staying in conversation. Are we just gonna do this the whole time? Yeah, what are you gonna do? Like, create a fucking universal housing model? Well, that's the only choice. What are you gonna do,
Yeah.
And they're like, so it's this like itchiness. It's like this allergy that you feel to just, I'm not gonna have a 41st conversation about this damn thing. because we're gonna complain about it forever, and so are our kids. And then what you do is you get these group of people, the two best friends. I wish they were on this call right now. They're exactly the kinds of people like the front desk agent at the hotel who Peacock works really hard. Surya is this. He was born in India. We all went to high school. His superpower is that he is so fast that when he has an email, a text, or a task, he doesn't talk. Done. And you only could achieve ACTUM with someone like this. This sort of urgency that you don't have to convince him or motivate him. He's just like, it's crazy. I need to do this. And then you have Ed Mark. He's also one of the founders. He has such a pure heart that all he does is just sit and listen to people. He would drive me around LA in circles and around the city and listen to my problems when I was young, and he'd just be like, okay. And he didn't want anything. And I said, I don't know what you're gonna do in life, what that skill you have is, but your heart could probably be used in something like this. And of course they all said yes. So, thankfully you could get these people with their own superpowers to do something like this. And our whole thing is, okay, if you actually want to achieve a universal housing model, you can't house everyone in the world. So forget the 8 billion. What can you do? Okay, is it 5 units a year? Pretty damn good. Because once you achieve 5 units a year, you could say that it exists.
Yep.
And so they're very practical minded, and we know that we're going to move slow. It's actually almost not about doing it as fast as possible. It's about making sure that when we die, because this is what we're most paranoid about, is when we die, this has to work and move on without us. People should
100%.
steal our model. They should be able to steal what we do with our transparency dashboard on our website. They should steal how we have all these programs set up for like high school campus clubs. They could learn about ACTUM. They could hold fundraisers. It's just we need it to live on. But the point is, a lot of these were born from drunk nights, and it can't stay there.
No, exactly. And the way you're saying it is that also is that you have to act on it, and I hope it survives you. I do mine, but the thing is when we do something that's never been done before, I mean, you have to make it a model like that people can copy, right? Because I mean, everything you're going through right now, I mean, somebody could have the exact same values, the exact same visions, but they don't have those two friends, or they don't have the courage, they don't have the skill set, they don't have the family pushing them or saying go, or they don't have the financial freedom to put time into this. And so when you're doing something new, I feel is that you have to make it so that it's so simple and copyable that people can actually get to that point, or you could, live on and not just transform the whole thing once you're gone. And that's also one of my principal challenges, because everybody's trying to bring me towards, ways and models of selling things or making things worth people's investment or donation. And I'm like steering away, because it's about altruism, right? And giving without taking. So if you only give me $10 because I sent you a hat or a t-shirt, I mean, I am going to monetize the mission, and I am going to make ends meet probably faster, but I'm not bringing you into an altruistic state of mind where you're giving without expecting anything in return. And then while seeing what's going on with our mission, you're like, oh, I feel so good about myself. I haven't felt like this, this emotion in a while. Like I gave, I didn't receive, but it's coming back to me in some ways inside or whatever. And I want to feel that more. It feels good, right? So I'm going to help my neighbor. I'm going to give more. I'm going to start my own, helping campaign or whatever. And I want people to feel that again, instead of all these mechanisms and getting back. And that's one of the reasons that the mission I'm supporting right now is steering away, for now at least, from the nonprofits, because I've also been inspired by, I don't know if you know Simon Squibb.
Yes.
The English dude that said that English dude from England says, "What's your dream?" He's always about what's your dream. He made a book about it. He's saying that like his businesses are for-profit businesses for good. You know, enough with the nonprofits. Why would making profit make you like not being worthwhile or worth supporting? Like, because the nonprofits, as you just, you know, kind of maybe knew already or realize in another level, is that they're always looking for some ways to red tape you, slow you down. You're dependent on their rules, right? While a creator who wants to lick fake ice creams or do NPCs, or I don't know if you know about that phenomenon, NPCs, or people who got rich.
No. I don't know. I know what an NPC is, but not that thing. Not that.
Yeah, but the NPCs is like they started this on TikTok, right? When they came out with live gifts, you could give people like 5 cents, 10 cents. You give them a rose, give them a puppy dog, give them a cake, give them a galaxy or whatever. And every item you virtually give them is actually you're giving them money, right? So people started doing NPCs. So they'd make like this, you know, like non-playable character in a video game moves, like, and if you give them a gift, let's say you give them the dog, they go, ruff, ruff. You know
what the hell?
So they made millions, and people made thousands and thousands of dollars. The one who did that, you know, properly or constantly, like, good job for the consistency and putting your ego aside. Great job. But how low can that be where you're like, oh, ice cream's so good, and because the girl has these nails and whatever, people, oh, I'll donate, you know, that's not helping anybody, right? Except that person. And TikTok, because TikTok was, you know, bringing 70% of those profits to China, again, they back 30 to the creator, right? So all that's crazy for me. So, and nonprofits right now, humbly, I'm a resource for some nonprofits who have volunteers, because their volunteers are not allowed to do what I do because of the red tape, insurances and policies and whatnot, right? So that's why I chose to steer clear from being a nonprofit for now, as long as I can, because I'm just saying, you know, if people could have a camera, do stupid stuff, pranks, making people laugh, NPCs, nudes, being teased, going on OnlyFans, whatever, and they make a lot of money off of that, and they just give it to governments and whatever, and do nothing for society. Why can't doing something for society be as easy and accessible to all as doing good deeds, making a living, and having a positive impact in the world? That's my take on it, right? So that's why I'm steering clear for a nonprofit, and it's also what's slowing me down, you know, because I can't get corporate donations because they want the ROI, they want the paper, they want something. I could do invoices. I'm legit in everything. Every donation, whether it's $1 a month or 100 or 1,000 once, I declare as income, right? And I pay taxes and I pay income taxes here where I live, but I mean, they're not donations in a sense where people don't get that paper saying, "Oh, I donated" or whatever. So a company, I could just do an invoice, say, "Here, you know, a participation, and you gave me 500, I'll do you a bill for 500." But it's not a donation receipt, right? Because I'm steering clear of that for now for those reasons. But it is slowing me down because some people want to drag me back that way. But my view on that is that the world, there's more and more suffering. I don't know if you're agreeing. There's more and more people. There's more and more suffering. There's also more and more nonprofits, ideas, organizations, and all that coming, you know, to life. But they're not taking away the suffering. It's not enough. So my take on it is I think somebody said that before, like power to the people, right? Like if we all get together and realize every little gesture counts, every little amount counts, every little thing we can do for others counts, and we start doing that, we'll be less and less dependent on all these rules and regulations and all these things that are keeping us from being human, you know, at the base, at the start of it, right?
This is the first time I'm hearing this, the for profit for good. So I'm a little bit astounded. That's why I'm just, you know,
Simon Squid, that guy's awesome, really.
Yeah.
Unless he comes up in the Epstein files or he's a fraud or whatever. For now, I just look up to this guy like crazy. And another, you know, another example, which I'm pretty sure you know, is Harry Mack, the freestyle rapper dude on Omegle and going in the streets and guerrilla rapping and all that. Like he's from LA, right? And I'm not saying you know him because he's from LA, but he's just a phenomenon on YouTube and whatnot. Like he's an independent artist who's probably multi-millionaire by now. No record label, no nothing. Started on YouTube, started doing what he had to do, and started monetizing and like crazy. And then Patreon, you know what Patreon is? You support an artist by buy me a coffee type thing. You know, you give money to an artist just because you like what he does. And that's also my view, is that I want to be an independent. I don't want to like a record label or government telling me what I can or cannot do. I want to have people saying, we like what you do, and here's money to keep doing it, right? And then we reinvest, because I don't need $10,000 a month to be happy, you know? So once I reach a certain goal, which I'm not reaching right now, just to bare minimum, right? But once I reach that break even, every other penny is going to be invested in making the mission impact more people. Like you said, let's say I have a friend who wants to do like me but can't afford not to work. I'm going to say, how much do you need? You need $2,000 a month just to like get your head out of the water and leave your job? Fine. Here's $2,000. Go help people, right? That's what you like to do. And that's as easy as that. So that's the next phases where people could get, you know, start doing it. Or other phases that we're going to pay people to manage, because I have at least 35 people right now on the list who want to help for free. But I can't risk losing everything for one guy I haven't screened right, who goes to this lady's house and grabs her cheekbone or whatever, you know, and then I'm on the news saying, oh, he sent a predator, you know. So everybody's looking for the bad things. So I need to coordinate that in a secure way, where I have somebody dedicated or a business for background checks and all that. But that takes money, right? So all these steps that I want to get to, and I like helping people in unknown situations. I go to people's house. It's the first time I step in. We spoke on the phone. They filled out the form to what they need. I know if I can manage or not, but I don't know what I'm getting into. So I get there. I have all my tools. I'm like, okay, let's do this. And I do as much as I can. And it's always, or 99.9% successful, right?
Dude, that is so cool.
But let's say you are good at one particular thing, but not so comfortable meeting someone new every time. Maybe you're going to tell me, hey, I want in your business, but I just want to take care of that last person I saw, because I know she lives close by and I can manage what she needs every other month, every so many months, every so many weeks, one you know, Sunday afternoon every month. I could manage her. So then we match people whose, you know, needs are met for life, then not just one time, because me it's one time, or not just, you know, here and there. It's like, okay, we match people together. So everybody could hop on board with their own skills, intentions, regions, mindsets, you know, and willingness to do stuff for free, right? So that's the future vision.
I'm ingesting all this for the first time, and I just have a couple quick questions here.
For sure.
So how do you have the online form? Is that still your system for when people ask for help?
For now, yeah.
How do you make sure that you reach the widest range of people who get access to that form? Do you go on the street and show people, or is it internet mainly?
For now, it's all internet, main media, also TV, radio. Some people have spoken about it. So I've got newspapers, I've got magazines, like whatever media wants to talk about it, they could reach me and talk about it. You know, some have done it without asking me and just, you know, spreading the news. But I'm not focused on spreading the news so much about having this service offered, because right now the balance is pretty good. Let's say I open up, because I'm dedicated full time to this since June 2021, right? But full time also means not in someone's home every day, because there's all the social media bullshit to take care of, right? And you know how that painful can be.
Yeah, I know.
And how time consuming that be. So I got to do that. So I try to be at people's houses at least 2 or 3 times a week minimum. And sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. But I open up like 2 or 3 days a week on a calendar 1 month in advance, to make sure that people who come in still have this hope that it's not going to take 6 months before I help them, right? So right now I'm at that delicate balance where I get more people asking than dates I have to offer. But just up to recently, before I went viral in the beginning of the year on a video, I had this balance where people asking would most probably all get the help they asked for, if they're within my region and whatever other criteria I have to put out there to protect myself and to do a good job, right? So once that balance is achieved, I don't want to push more on, hey guys, ask for help, because I
Uh-huh.
know other people need it, but I'm the only one on in action, right, doing stuff. So the first thing I'd like to achieve, just like you guys, is like the minimum support where things could become real, right?
Yes.
So you guys need at least, I think you said 100,000 before the first house ever comes to life, and maybe less if you get donations, like lands and stuff. So it's the same for me. Once I reach my recurring monthly support where I know my kids are taken care of,
Mm.
and I could, stop, using my credit card or my credit margins or whatever, then I could focus on every other penny going towards having someone hop on who's going to make other people help other people elsewhere, because that's also kind of a full-time job. Because you know how people can be not dependable. Like, okay, yeah,
Mm.
Marie, Stefan's going to go to your house on Friday, and Friday morning, hey, Stefan's not here. Oh my God, I can't manage that right now, because if I start managing that, I won't be at people's homes helping them anymore. I'll be like on the phone and the emails all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why the first phase is making ends meet. Second phase, having someone hop on to maybe develop those kinds of coordinations and whatnot. Or maybe we're going to skip to phase 3 or 4, which is an app where people just hop in, and we do a background check on the back end, and then people like the superhero Uber app.
Uh-huh.
That's the long-term vision, is like the Uber for heroes. Like, you hop in as a hero, you say, I could do this and this and that, this day, this day, this day, this far away from my location, and then
Mm-hmm.
people hop in, I need this, and they match you up, right?
Mm. So
That's the long
literally,
term.
so you are okay. I see what you're saying. More helpers is in the long-term vision.
Yeah,
More
yeah,
people
for
like
sure.
you
Yeah,
who you can trust, and okay, that's
yeah, for sure. I mean, they're already in list, and I already do it from time to time. Let's say I have somebody
oh,
from outside my region ask me
yeah.
for help. I don't promote it. I'm not saying, hey, I've got people there and there and there, because that's when the influx is going to be too much. But
Yeah.
if somebody does go ahead and say, I'm not from your region, I know, here's my Hail Mary, I need this and that, I live here, and I know that in my list I have that person, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to put him in contact, right? But then it's all a trusting where, hey, I've spoken to this person for 45 minutes on the phone, they look legit. You need this. Are you vulnerable to this person coming and seeing you in your house? No, I'm not vulnerable. Okay, you guys talk it out and see how it goes. And I've done this like at least a dozen times, and it worked out. Nothing negative happened. But to
Mm-hmm.
push that more, I need more resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Can
you
I
need more.
ask,
Yeah,
can I
go.
ask you for your opinion?
Mm-hmm.
Frequently on conversations or podcasts, the two people we always agree with each other. If you disagree, please let me know here, okay? This
Absolutely.
takes
I'd say
yeah,
the same. I
this
was
takes
gonna say, I had
yeah.
taken notes where I wanted to ask you hard questions, not to be like putting you in a jam or whatever, because I feel I'll get those questions maybe one day. I don't know
Mm,
how to answer. I trust your opinion. I'd like to see if kind of what you would say about them, and it's not to invalid or whatever. Like,
yeah,
so go
good,
ahead.
good. It's
Yeah,
good. It's good learning and to grow. Really, I'm all
absolutely.
with it. Please, but this takes us back to the Simon Squibb model here.
Hmm.
So the three founders, me, Surya, Ed, Mark, we all have jobs. So we can only work on ACTUM when we clock out. For Surya, that's around 3 or 4 p.m. For me, it's sporadic. Wake up 7 in the morning, respond here, go back to sleep. It's different for all of us. But we understand that the actual careers that we have, it dilutes ACTUM a little bit.
Hmm.
Inevitably, we have 24 hours in a day. We can't get to everything. But they challenged me prior and said, "Are you sure? Are you sure we should take zero salary?" And I gave them two reasons why it has to be zero. First is we will never get up on our feet if we start taking wages, because the goal is so long term that even if we have 100K, the 100K will bleed into it, because how Actum works is we only build units on the returns we generate from the stock market.
Yeah.
So if we did a 5% year and that number looks around, let's go long term, 2 million, 2.5 million. Well, it's worse compounding returns if we start taking from that. I don't think we'll get on our feet, and that actually might cost us probably 1 or 2 units, over every 2 years. It's like, damn. So we're all financially stable and we all have good hearts, but we understand that if it was paid, we could probably work on it 16 hours a day, kind of, something crazy. So that's why I told him it had to be zero, because it needs to get off on its feet. But the other thing is, other nonprofits that work on housing, the biggest one being Habitat for Humanity, I like them. I don't like them all the way. I think my biggest thing with them is the CEO takes $400,000 a year. Okay, that's absolutely crazy. And I get you're the biggest NGO, but when you provide low-income single-parent families a home, don't make $500,000.
What's NGO? Sorry.
Oh, NGO is a non-governmental organization, so nonprofit, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, nonprofit. So I'm thinking, okay, the only real way to win the people, because you have to win the people for trust, is to have so radical of an opposition to what exists that when people look at the CEOs of nonprofits, they just think they're disgusting. It has a bad term. The red tape is a good example that you said, but also just these high salaries and that they take. So I thought that fundamentally, the first impression is always important. And when someone hears about ACTUM and says, oh, zero salary, not just for founders, but for staff. So the people who make your content do it for free. Yeah, they do. And so to me, it was just because there's way too much distrust, anger, frustration that you have to hit the number zero. If it's zero is the best way to win their trust, because then we can release our bank statements and they can just see everything that we spend. We don't even have to worry. A lot of people say, but how can I trust you? And we respond, you won't have a choice, because we're going to be so fucking transparent. You can just scrutinize us every day. We want you to hammer us because there's nothing to hide. So I just know that's the second reason, is the only way to combat a distrustful world is to be so radical and extreme that your number is zero. Do you agree with this, or do you think it actually hurts us?
Good question. I get the idea. I get the why. But what came to mind, to be honest, is that, I mean, because you guys, like the other two, they're not in a public eye, right? Their jobs are not like like you are, like an actor or whatever. Like, say I know the acting world just enough, or the comedian world just enough. I know that for you, having enough after 1 or 2 seasons of something or a gig, and then just pouring your heart into this is something I could learn about you and trust, right? And the other people, I don't know what they do, but I could believe that they do that also. But then again, the first thing that came to mind is, you could be as transparent as you want, especially now with AI and whatnot. Like, what's to say it is the truth? Like, what's to say, like, you have a weight that we can donate, but I don't know what kind of platform it is and how it works, but what's to say that you don't get money like e-transfer or PayPal, Wire, or Venmo or whatever, and that money is going in another account and you're just not showing it up? And there's all sorts of ways we can distrust. The distrust is I know it's the thing to beat, but people who are suffering and distrustful are going to distrust whatever you come up with. I've been saying it, like, I'm not hiding it. Like, I'm just trying with these donations. I say it in every video. In fact, I'm just trying to make ends meet so that I could reinvest. Okay. And people are, for the vast majority, probably doubting or not liking the way I'm doing things, because I have like 26,000 followers, but 250 that give, right? And I've been seen by at least 3, 4, 500,000 people, and still only 260 give, right? Some give $1, some give 120, and everything in between. So I haven't gained the trust of everybody but I am transparent. As long as and then people say, okay, but what is the money going towards? I'm like, do you want to see my electricity bill, my internet bill, my cell phone bill, my grocery bill? That's what the money is going for, because I'm dedicated to this full time. I need my life to be covered so I could concentrate and do only this. Because if I go do something else to pay my bills, like you said, there's going to be like maybe 3-4 hours a week left to do. How can I help anybody when doing that? So that's my vision. So to come back on yours is that, I mean, you gotta, I think it's all about, you know, what helps the mission more, right? Like if I stop asking for money and I stop taking money, the mission stop existing, right? If you guys start asking for money and you fear that it's gonna, you know, postpone or be bad for the mission, and you could afford not to, that's your best way of going about it, right? But I get the 400K like for NGO guy and all that, but, and I'm not saying he deserves it or he should have that much, but when you compare to like the scale of it and the responsibility, I mean, would you take his responsibility? Is that something you got from other people? Would you take his responsibility to make this work and work out well for less than that? Because it must be huge. The pressure must be huge. Then again, maybe it's not. Maybe he's so good at his job that his full team is like, you know, autopilot and everything. You know, maybe he's not a valued asset anymore because he's so good. He put a structure in, and that for me doesn't mean he's entitled to get $400,000 a year instead of pouring it back into the business. He should let the thing roll and do something else for money, whatever. But so there's not, I think, a black or white answer. It's all about what serves the mission better for me, I think. And
that's always be the metric. Yeah.
What serves, like I said, like I would tell people that if I'm transparent, like let's say you know, close to a real number, because I haven't done the math in a while. But let's say my life right now, I'd be good with $5K a month, okay, which is $60,000 a year. It's I'm not rich, I'm not poor, I'm just going by, and that's fine by me, right? And let's say, because I know life is going to cost more in a few years, and year on and year on, let's say I go, I'll take the first 60K plus 5% per year, let's say, and then whatever is more is all going to go back to making more help, more people, the app bigger, the app better, spreading to other countries, or whatever has to come to have more and more free help available. Would people hop in more, less? That's the way I see it, right? I don't need to make $300,000 to be happy, right? So that's all about pouring it back into the mission and making the mission exist.
But do you feel that in your heart and in your mind, nothing changes when you get paid? Like it's corrupt free. Like the altruism stands perfectly on its own, like a river of clean water, and receiving a stipend or a return, it doesn't change at all how you move, how you function.
You know, right now, since I'm not making ends meet and I'm, you know, in debt, I could say for sure yes. Like when I go to people's home, like I help them for free. They're receiving free help, whatever, whether they're knowledgeable of my model or not, if they ask about it or not, they're receiving free help. So I'm receiving that what makes me me tick, right, is helping people, being of service, right? And there's no money exchange. There's no like, oh, you're worth this much, or for what I paid you, I expected more. There's none of that, you know, crap that we're all messed up in our minds about. And so I feel that way. And like I said, the reason I came up with this idea is because I said, if I was a millionaire, that's what I do. So what I want to do is be that guy. And then, of course, I have bills to pay. Can I at least make ends meet, right? And so if I start making, or rather when the mission and I start making, let's say 5K a month, 10K a month, 15K a month in revenue or whatever, I mean, I think I'll feel the same, because I'm going to do as much maybe or less because I'm gonna, oh, come talk on this, come talk on that, come talk about the mission. Let's say there's more people doing what I do and I have to manage it, but we'll always be helping more people, right? So I'm not going to take more. Maybe I'm going to be called to do less, but keeping in mind that if I hadn't taken that first step, if I hadn't taken that risk for like 5 years, 6 years, maybe 7 years to make ends meet doing this, and now that it's live and that everybody's benefiting from it, my share is not taking away from anybody, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So, you could say, I don't know, you could say, like, because you said you guys invest your money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna create what you have to create off of those returns.
Yes.
Because the capital is always, but we're also working, I think you and I, in some ways, we're not in tune with all the whole capitalist way of seeing things, right?
Yeah.
But but I mean, if anything goes sideways with capitalism or money worth, your money's going to disappear also, right? If the S&P 500 doesn't perform and everything crashes, your mission stops also. So you may be all good intention and good thinking and doing it this way, but if there's no more money, there's no more mission, right?
Yes.
So let's say you guys also use the capitalist tools that are there to better the mission, right? So let's say the content start monetizing. Let's say you start you sell books or whatever comes to you that is in tune with your values and the mission, and you start monetizing that profit for good, right? You're going to use that profit to make good on your mission. So I don't think there's nothing bad with that. I think that, and Michael touched on that, I think in his podcast with you, is that money doesn't change you. It amplifies who you are, right? So I think you guys and me, you could give us what we're asking for tomorrow morning, and we would not sit back and go like, oh yeah, mission objective.
Yeah, right.
Let's take care of our lives now. No, it would be okay. How do we do even more? How do we use this opportunity, this gift, to help even more, create even more wealth, create even more dignity? I love that word when you use dignity. I started focusing on that word a while back now, but dignity is because I offer people free peace of mind, and anybody's accepted because anybody it's not worth it. They don't deserve it. It's just plain dignity, right? So yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I answered your question. I went in all kinds of directions, but that's it for me. Like, and that's what I feel. But I am stuck with this idea that the majority are looking at me with that question in mind. Like, yeah, but it's not altruistic if you're asking for money. But it is, in a sense, that the only reason I'm asking for money is that I can be who I am, right?
Of course.
I'm not a guy who's gonna like build a house and make money off of building a house. Yeah. I'm a guy who wants to help. So if I want to help, I need my things to get paid, and not superficial things like the basic needs, right? Because here in Quebec, we have the universal healthcare, right?
Oh, you guys got universal healthcare?
Yeah. I don't know if you know about that, but like we go to the hospital, the doctors, we pay zero, right? But we pay on our income taxes, globally, all this money. But the system is going to ruins, right? It works if you're in it at a young age or if they take care of something really, really crucial. But let's say you have sniffles or something, a rash, and you go to the hospital, or you're going to wait in line for like maybe 24 hours or 12 hours. It makes no sense, right? So now they started to privatize. So now if you've got money, you could see a doctor fast. If you have not, you wait in the system. So it's kind of imperfect, right? And the system also takes care of the actual suffering, but not the cause, not the root problem. Like you were saying, the vitamins and all that. Right. So I was like, I need somebody in government or in policies to come up with this audacious idea, bold idea, where you say, you know what? Instead of pouring so much money into the free health system, why don't we do like free or basic healthy nutrients food giveaway? So let's say you go to grocery store in your neighborhood, you're associated with this grocery store. You have this number or this proof of we're 4, 2 kids, 2 adults. They give you a basket of good, healthy food for a week for free, 2 kids, 2 adults. Then if you want to buy chips or chocolate cereal, you do that with your own money. But that part is socially financed by, the government and whatnot. So then people are healthier and they go less into the health system. So you save that money there in some ways. Yeah. And the other step would be, okay, if your car makes a funny noise and you avoid it, maybe that funny noise was like a $20 worth of little grease or whatever, but then you avoid it and it becomes, you have to change your whole door hinge and it's 5,000 or 3,000, So the body for me is the same thing. People wait and wait and wait and go to the doctors when they can't, they can't avoid whatever they're feeling. But let's say because going to like pre-medicine care, like, osteopath or massages or chiropractors, that costs a lot of money, right? So why not have this system who helps prevent? So you go see this, this dispatch, this person who knows everything about human health, and you go, I have this itch or this problem. Okay, go see this person. You go there, it's free or it's like $20 or whatever. And then, okay, it's still there a week later. Okay, go see this person again. And if you do the whole process and you need medical care, it's still free. But if you wait and it's too late and you go, oh, I need medical care. And you're like, okay, did you go there and this and that and do this? No. Okay, but it's going to cost you. You didn't do what you had to do. So I'm about, putting responsibility back on the people, but you also have to keep them informed so they could, embody those responsibilities. So that's the bigger picture where it's harder, right?
You know what you sound like? The more that I hear you talk, hold on, this is so interesting. It's like the more you talk, I keep getting these flashes of the future where there are actually structural mechanisms in how we take care of our people that this is already solved. I see robots telling people these are all your problems, or I see robots being able to take care of menial tasks. Like if someone slips in their house, well, thankfully the robot can pick up the old lady and bring her back to a chair. There are so many things that are going to be solved that are coming, and it almost seems like taking the actions that you're taking is in alignment of a better future that's already coming. Sorry, did I cut off? My screen went black. But it's almost like you act moral to where we're likely headed, or history just looks down on you for never being able to see that problem. I think a lot of the things that you say are pretty aligned with what people are going to accept, So it does bring me. I have to ask you this. Also, hit me with those hard questions because now
I'll check my notes after. Yeah.
But check this out. Like, you probably have to be either a little bit weird or kind of crazy to ignore all the people that say sell the hats and t-shirts, make a little bit of cash, to keep your heart intact. What I'm trying to find out is, what is it for you that is able to remain kind? Because usually what will happen as we get older is we need to become more selfish because things get harder and we stop giving less. Like a couple dollars in the sidewalk to the man sleeping on the street. Yeah, probably if you're 18 to 24, you feel bad, but 36 and you got to take care of your kids. I need to take care of my own. We become more and more selfish, generally. So I'm trying to ask you, is it God, or is it insanity, or is it what is actually able to keep you there in that place? What is it?
Very good question. I can't say for sure it's God, because I was born Catholic. I was, baptized and all that, but it went away, right? In our culture, Quebec mainly, the French-speaking, we took religion on the bad side, and we just, discarded it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
and because of whatever scandals there were about priests being pedophiles, and the saying it's all about not making money, but it's all about making money, and people are rich in the business or whatever. So there's a lot of skepticism and things that people put aside about religion. I was born into that. I'm half Italian also, so I grew up even closer, I think, than most people to religion, and so it's in me, right? I can't undo the fact that it's in me. Like I say, the expression I used before, win your life, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In religion we used to say like win your heaven, right? Win your place in heaven. Like that's how we'd say it in French. So instead of winning your life, I'd go by win your place in heaven. So do good unto others and all that. I'm with that. It's in me. I just don't associate it out loud or specifically to religion, because for me it's just being human, right? And whatever your beliefs are, I think that, and again, a simple quote is actions speak louder than words, right? So I'm acting. I'm not just saying, like Gandhi said, be the change, not talk about the change, or be the change, right?
Mm-hmm.
So since I'm acting, since I'm doing this, it's just my way of expressing the whole thing. And why I steer away, and how is it? Let's circle back to the original question, because I think I lost my train of thoughts, and I just want to make sure I answer not politically.
It's what keeps you intact. If usually people get selfish, how are you able to keep doing this? Something holds a person, whether it be reason, their reason, or it's always your partner whispering in your ear, keep going, keep going. What is keeping you there? That's a hard thing to do, because you know what I'm saying. Everyone is selfish. To act on kindness is quite pure and probably intrinsic, but eventually it gets destroyed. What is holding you at that place?
I could say that it's it's the selfishness of it. Like I feel that me doing this way, this mission, is the way I can make a change in the world. It's the way I could leave a mark, right? Let's say like in a plane, in a plane, when the masks come out because there's a problem, you got to put your own mask on first so you can help others, right? So me doing this is me putting my mask on to make sure that I could help my family, help the people around who are struggling with their masks and whatnot, So it's just this calling, and probably a bit of craziness. Whereas I use this quote also from Steve Jobs, who says, only the people crazy enough to think they could change the world actually do, right? So, and it's also my love of superheroes. I gotta say, I gotta admit, like, because I grew up with them, especially, Superman and Spider-Man. And Spider-Man actually saved my life, right? You were talking about this earlier, when, life is about waiting for something or waiting for a movie. In a dark place in my life, I was gonna end it, right? I was gonna unalive myself. And the thing that got me going was, oh, you know what? I've been waiting so long for this IRL Spider-Man movie to come out, like the live action, that I'm just gonna tough it out till I see that movie and then put my plan to execution. And between that thought and the actual movie coming out, my life got blessed. My life got better, right? So that's my way. And like you guys touched on the Matrix, touched on the simulation. I can't go into that so deeply, because I'm trying also to be like the universal vocabulary, so I don't want to scare people away. I'm all like, I listen to it, I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm not judging. I'm even okay with the ideas. I just can't express them that good that people would come in on board, with me. So I want to stay like a basic street level talking, right? But I think in movies they keep showing us how good wins. Captain America wins, and because I'm watching it with my kids lately, and goodness, kindness wins. But in real life, that's not what they show you.
Uh-huh.
You know, being kind is being a nonprofit, so not living your life well. Being kind is struggling. Being kind is putting 10 people together that are struggling to make it just a bit more bearable, right? It's not about, hey, kindness is everywhere, it's cool, and it's making everybody's life better. That's not the way it's winning. Like, the people who are winning are the 1%.
Yeah.
You know? So it's all this. And you said something early on that I don't want to get like pretentious about. But you said, like, my way of talking or thinking makes you think of a future where things make sense or the way it's supposed to be. I kind of feel that way sometimes too, but I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know how to express it. You know?
So interesting, man.
So I just know, and this is one thing I'm going to say also. I just know that I'm on the right path. You know why? Because, you know, I think you guys touched on it also. Synchronicities. You know, when life happens in a way that you're like, this can't be true. This can't be happening. This is so incredible, right? For me, if we're in a simulation, speaking of, that's a checkpoint.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you play Mario, you start at the beginning if you die, but if you go past this certain stage or this certain place in its world, you never go further than that new spot.
Yeah.
Synchronicities in real life for me is that if something happens that is so incredible, it's life saying you're on the right path. So since I've been on my path, I've went through like at least a dozen of those. And it's just incredibly awesome to me to figure out that I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to talk about it, but I'm doing it and it's working, right? So that's what keeps me motivated. That's what's keep me, you know, want to proving people wrong in some ways. Like, it's not about profit and capitalism. It's about contribution and value comes from what you give to the world, not what you take from it. You know, it's all that jumbled up in my head that I can't express, but I don't know if that answered your question. I know, but I don't know if it makes sense at all. But, you know, like people like Josh Clifford's also from Free Water, who you guys mentioned, I spoke with on a video chat once on his live feed. And that guy was awesome.
He? What's he like?
Oh, he's like he's the Elon Musk of ingenuity of making the world. No, but I mean, not Elon Musk in the sense that we know that he's done not only good things, but I mean, he's so genius about the way he wants to make life free for you know, all the good reasons. So he's lucky that he's genius in a way that his idea, as does mine in some ways, uses and as does yours because of the S&P and all that, but uses what we cannot control about the world, which is, you know, money talks, you know, and uses that to make good of it, right? So his way of doing business is that, like, why would somebody use his bottles of water instead of something else, which is cheaper? It's because he's selling the idea to those people that, but you're making the world better, right? You're paying maybe, I don't know, 50 cents more a bottle, but you're getting into the world, you're helping the world, you're making the world a freer place, whatever. So I think the people who do buy his bottles to make him profitable and whatnot and give back to charity, they're just into that. So I think it's about educating people also, which I have a hard time doing, but it's just bringing people up to that way of seeing things, right?
You know, I'm actually supposed to call him in 2 or 3 days. He moved to Italy, and I was so surprised that I think because Michael. Okay, first of all, Michael, the chairman, is like a connector of all worlds. Like, what is this guy, man? He just brings everyone together. Yeah. No, we're supposed to call him because we're just gonna chat. I just want to pick his brain about how he handles things, just organizationally. Surrey and Edmark, we're just gonna hop on a call and be like, so, like, what are your days like? How do you solve these emails? How do you these problems? Because again, I think at the end of the whole war, all the like-minded people just find themselves.
Yeah, that's why I was so like starstruck and impressed when I listened to your guys' podcast, and when I found you first, but then you and Michael together, I'm like, it's just crazy how the world works, right? And same with Josh, he's so amazing. and actually just say a hi for me, because I haven't spoken to him in a while. We always like
Oh yeah.
comment our stuff or whatever, but
I'll
tell
say hi.
him the free help guy says hi.
Yeah. You know, I real fast. Your, but I don't want to sound okay.
Go.
You keep saying something that doesn't actually align with what you're proving. This self-belief of your inability to express yourself. I completely don't get it. And in fact, if you've never said it before, it would have never crossed my mind. And so I'm kind of dumbfounded. I think you're wrong. I don't know what you're looking for that you haven't done. Like, what is it that you said that you don't have? Because it's been proven in this call. What is it?
I mean, it's some kind of imposter syndrome, probably dating back to those school years, not wanting to do like oral presentations and whatnot. But it's also that, you know, it's because for me, I associate having only 260 people on board of the 26,000, let's say, and not counting the 100,000 people who learned about me. Not having more than that on board means there's something I'm not saying right, or I'm not talking enough because I'm all action, right? And so for me, that's something. And also it's because, let's say you, me, we're walking near a basketball court, right? And there's people playing basketball. We look at each other and we say, hey, you know what? I never played in my life. You never played in your life. You want to try it out? And you go, yeah, sure. So we start shooting hoops, right? But every hoop you shoot, you get in. Okay? And I'm like, Christian, how are you doing that? You're like, I don't know. I'm just shooting and it hoops, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like struggling. I'm like, but teach me. How are you going to teach me? You just started doing it and you're getting it. So this kid who was playing before, he comes up and says, hey, guy, you went to college or something? No, I just started doing it. Like, wow, that's awesome. And so I look at this guy and say, hey, did you go to college learning basketball? Yeah. Could you teach me to do like him? Yeah, for sure. You got to do this, and then you got to do that. You got to focus. He's going to teach me because he's been taught. So I haven't been taught what I'm doing. I'm just like that. So my fear and me saying all that, repeating that over and over again, that I can't express it, is because I can't seem to express it in the way that has the impact I'm looking for, because I haven't learned it. I'm just living it. And that's why, you know, proof is in the pudding. That's why I feel that I'm going to be confident enough or sure enough to start having people talk with me or for me or for the mission, or I'm going to be stepping it up once I've made ends meet, you know? Oops.
Can you hear that damn thing?
Yeah, it's all right. It's going to stop, right? So when people ask me in an interview, okay, you're helping people for free and all you're living off is donations of people not asking for help, that want to make you help people. How's that going for you? And they're always like, you know, like not believing, like that can't work out, right? Like people's not going to give you money for you to help strangers. So they have their answer already. Like that can't be. And like, you know what? No, not yet. Still struggling, you know, slowly. And they're probably like, oh, of course, he's going to stop one day because that's a crazy idea. But once I reach that level, and my answer is going to be, what do you think? Do you think I can make a living and pay all my bills off of people giving me money for me to help other people and not them? Do you think it's possible? I don't think so. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's going A-okay. And you know what? We're starting investing in the next phase. Oh my God, you know, I feel that's when I'm going to be able to, you know, I don't know, feel like what I'm doing and what I'm saying, they join, right? Instead of, this is my vision, but my vision isn't working, or it's working, but not in the perspective of people saying it works if you're paying bills, you know?
You know, Pietro, I want to say this, like, it's recorded, but it's also like a private thing. I don't mind if it's recorded, but I hope you don't take it like as a patronizing thing, but I want to tell you what our practice is, okay? Because I don't want to sound like we're giving anything, but I just want to say it. What we do is like the language we use on our social media and how we talk to people was fear-based, because Surya, being a bit of a cynic, is saying, how are you going to pitch this to people? Even the IRS doesn't even understand it. No one understands what you're doing because they laugh at you. It's too crazy. So fuck, how are you going to language it? And so what we did is we constructed 10 ways, so 10 sentences of how to say our mission. And that's where the comments come from. And the comments are saying, similar to what you said at the start of the phone call, you're able to put into words what I felt my whole life. You're able to encapsulate in one TikTok the pain that I feel when I clock into work. I'm so tired and exhausted. I forgot how I felt until I watched your video. You reminded me. And we're like, yeah, because you literally have to say, how in 10 different ways can I say this? And you weave those ideas and people receive them because it's so delicate. Any word you use strikes an image. And so I guess that's what I'm saying is, if there's ever a trouble with you having an impact with what your language is, we did too. But we sat down and say, what are the 10 ways we can pitch this in 60 seconds? And there are 10 ways to talk about universal shelter. You can talk about it from future, saying, think about a world where, so that's one hook that we have. And then the other hook that we have is, what's the alternative to not having ACTUM? It's to life now. So it's threatening them with the shit that they are going through. So there's so many ways. So I don't know. I just want to throw that, but I'm sure you have. Like you've. It's nice.
Not intentionally, but I have more people surrounding me these days. Like since November, I won like a entrepreneurship. I won an amount where I haven't invested it yet because I just don't want to, like, again, I'm you know, like you said, I'm focused on doing the things that the way I see them is that $5,000 could have went on my credit margin, right? So I pay less interest, but I'm not interested in just paying less interest. I'm interested in creating more value. So I haven't used it yet because I want to see where I could use it that has the most impact on the mission. Because I know I could live in debt for a few years still. I don't wish that, but I know I can. So instead of using that money to get out of debt, I want to use that money to make the mission go further, right? But yeah, and I have more and more people surrounding me. In that same competition, I won like mentors who liked what I came up with because I had the 5-minute pitch and I did it in another way. I used the society-based thinking and reflecting, like you just said. And it's the only time I used it like that. And I wanted to bring it back, and I wanted to sit down with these people and actually come up with these ideas. So it's a work in progress, right? But right now, it's just me bumbling out. And when something sticks, I just keep using it and using it again. Most of it is coming from other people, like the Einstein quote and the 300 balloon exercise. Or I don't know if you've seen the lighter exercise.
Lighter?
Like, yeah, it's 2 lighters. Yeah. And it's a way of saying, it's like you take a lighter in one hand and you just, light them up, and then you soak one in water, right? And then you pour water on top of it. So the water represents all the life struggles, all the harshness, all the problems we can't control, everything that's, on top of us. And then you take the lighter out, and of course it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
So then you go ahead and say, all the lighter needs sometimes, and you click on the gas thing without scrubbing it, and then you use the other lighter and you bring it up close, and then it lights up. So it's all to say that all the the lighter is the human. So all life struggles, keeping you down, sometimes all you need is another human lighting you up, right?
Yeah.
So I used that once. And so those are the ideas that I gotta repeat and find ways of saying even better, like you said.
And with the lighter experiment, I don't know if you agree, but I definitely think that a cup of soup that you buy from the store, and when you're sick, and then a cup of soup that your mother makes you, you're going to heal more from the mother. It doesn't matter what she put, more tomatoes, more nothing. The human warmth of that action, something about lighting people up. It is actually, I honestly think it accelerates healing and recovery.
For sure.
because there's something there. It's otherworldly. I don't know, but I do want to say too that in regards to your language and the imposter syndrome, the quote I'll put in is Bukowski, and he said, uh, "Do what you love, let it kill you." So there's Mike Tyson, and the only inspiration, there's some role models, but my only inspiration is Mike Tyson. And it's not because of how he fights or his achievements, it's who he became at the end of his life and how he talks. So if I'm ever feeling like a phony or fake or bullshit, I watch his interviews, and it's so cool because he took that, I don't know, he knows the quote, but he let it killed him. He let boxing killed him. That when he talks now in his old age, it's so someone puts a thought in and he responds instantly because he's just about the work. He was so invested in punching a bag that when something comes, he's just an animal. He just talks and he doesn't need to prove anything. And there's like this super mega authenticity in him that cannot be replicated or taught, but you need to let something kill you. I think the people who've let something kill them is, I think it's Michael Jackson, the super, super original kinds of people. And I think like you pass like a bullshit test. Like I think if people talk to you, they're not going to think you're a phony or a fake. They're just like, okay, this guy's, first of all, he talks really fast and he's smart, Pietro. But the way he describes things and how his eyes move, I don't think I think he's going to be a good, in good hands. The company's in good hands, but it's just so interesting to watch Mike Tyson because he's so bullshit free, and he's just the gold standard of, don't get PR training because the masses will never relate to it. They only understand him because he just says what's on his heart, and it's so poetic. We're naturally poetic when we use simple words. And I don't know. Have you seen his interviews? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I mean, I know who he is, but that's basically it. Like, no, I haven't been into him. I didn't know he was, someone to look up to or someone who resonated that way, just because he hasn't crossed, my feed or whatever. And I didn't know. So I'll definitely look it up.
It's like he's an alien. You look at his sentences, and if you read it on a script, it doesn't sound natural, but when he says it, it works. So like an interview once asked him, how did drugs play a role with you and your daughter? And he looked at them and said, I have to go now. And then he got up, and that's weird, but the interviewer got scared and he meant it. And he said, I have to go now. He talks so strange. And then when someone asked him, how does he feel about his life now, he just says, I was a monster. And even when he was a kid, his shit talk, rather than say, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to wreck you and knock your face, you know what he used to say? He said, I'm going to fuck you till I'm gay, or some weird shit. It doesn't even make sense.
He'd mess it up, yeah.
It's real to him. I'm going to fuck you till I'm gay. What in the world? So I don't know. He's so cool. He's so real.
I gotta figure out, how to put myself out there for sure. And I think one thing that I that came up while I was listening to you is that there's some fear. Like I'm afraid of, it's like the small guy versus the giant, right? Like I don't know the name in English, but David and Goliath, whatever. Like there's so many people not thinking like us. Like we don't debate, like we talk, and you asked about my ideas versus yours, or not versus, but in regards to yours or your thoughts. And I mean, we can align, we could think differently a bit, but we know that our actions and what we stand for is righteous, is good, right? It's human betterment. But around me, I feel, and in the media and in the masses, like I'm not equipped to debate, and I don't want to be like crushed by these like live action haters or whatever. So that's why I'm saying my actions are undeniably human and good. Like I get this once in a while, like a hater saying, why the fuck would you do that for free? You're so stupid. And I'm like, okay, the algorithm filtered them out. I'm not going to give him a spotlight, and I'm just going to ignore him. But somebody saying talking shit about our mission, I'm going to always take time to at least respond once in a positive and respectful manner, sending love and sending like I'm always saying like, listen, I know you may be suffering because saying this is, some type of suffering, yet you're, extending out, but here's what you haven't understood, or here's how to see what we're doing. And then they usually stop, right? They don't say, oh, thank you, my life has changed, but they usually stop. So I'm thinking maybe they got something, or maybe they didn't get like the back and forth. But if I go, let's say on a national television or whatever, and then I get all these eyes on what I'm saying and people not believing it, or people thinking the opposite, and debates start, I'm going to get crushed. Like, I'm scared of that.
Oh, God. Yeah. I see what you mean.
Yeah. So, like, I don't want to, like, rebound and not answer more about that. But I was also thinking about those hard questions you talked to me about. And I had just one that came up to mind, and I could scroll my notes afterwards. But, you said on the podcast with Michael that people will get the houses for free. They'd pay like their servitudes, like the electricity,
utilities,
utilities, and then you take care of the maintenance, and if they break something, they have to pay for it. So I just had this one question saying, because I see horrors like on my social networks with the property owners that get, and I go help people sometimes who don't really take good care of their property, right? And so I was thinking, let's say that people break stuff, but they don't have the means to pay, like. What then? What's your take on that?
So if they actually break, like say there's like 3 holes in the wall that they
or they had a party because or they just went, something else came up in their life that make them suffering, and they just started breaking walls, not taking care. The sink ran over, and it's just like there's mold everywhere, and they just lived in that until you notice, right? Like, is there like?
Well, if I'm getting this right, so based on the timeline of things, we would evict them. If they caused damage to units or even in the public spaces like the hallways, they're gone. And that's the hard thing, is this ruthlessness that we have of, if you can't uphold the units or the safety of the community, you're out of here. But if we find out that there's 3 holes in the unit when they move out, well, I mean, we have all of their information, and I don't know how actually the state laws work if you could actually press charges on someone. I think what you're saying, the catch-22 is, what if they don't have the money for it? So can they pay for a broken toilet? I mean, here's the thing. There's almost nothing. The short answer is we would pay for it. If they don't have the means, we, of course, have to get a new toilet. And that's the sucky part, is that what would probably make headlines is, these units are getting trashed, and the haters were correct in that people do not, because a lot of people like to say people will not appreciate what's given for free.
Yep.
What they'll say. To us, it's almost immaterial, irrelevant, and it totally doesn't matter how people treat the units. We're just happy that the units were given. It's that ripple effect, that action that was taken. Yes, it's going to cost us, but to uphold I guess the word is dignity, but actually the word is like the integrity. To uphold the integrity of the mission, even if it costs us more, to have the longevity to stay alive, we're going to pay for those broken holes. I mean, who cares? So I don't know if I answered that question.
Oh and probably in the ways I thought you would, because I'm not trying to like I said, like to get you in a trap or something, but I'm just thinking like those people, those haters who, and I love what you said about the media is going to jump on that and make the whole thing seem irrelevant or unviable, with that one thing, instead of making a big fuss about how incredible it is. And that's the world we live in, and that's the same here, and that's what I find so sad. And that question just came because I was listening, and I said, oh, he's going to pay for repairs, right? And then I was thinking all the banged up places I saw. And then I was thinking about a teacher I got when I was in doing accounting. I went back to school once trying to do accounting, and it was the finance teacher, or the legal teacher. And he said, you know what? In life, a bad settlement is better than any perfect judgment. So to say, like, if you catch somebody breaking your place, right?
Yeah.
And then you're gonna evict him, and he says, "I'm so sorry. Here's $200," and you say, "No, I'll get you for all 2,000 I need to repair this." You're gonna lose in the end, because all you have to do to get that 2,000 may not lead to the 2,000, even if you get that judge saying you got 2,000. If he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting zero. So you should have just took like the 200, right?
Yeah.
So that's stuck with me. So that's the whole idea. I swaddled up in there.
There's also this book. It's just such a simple book. It just says like How to Take Care of Your Finances by Ramit Sethi or some shit like that.
Okay.
So what he said was that as his wealth started to grow, he could make two choices. One, worry about the waiters in restaurants that add a zero on his tip, so his $10 become $100, or let it go. And he said that as he was able to grow as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, he could no longer give any time to the little detailed, the minutia of his losses. He said, it's almost not worth it. And I specifically budget my life around little things like that, of people taking my money, or insurances secretly raising it, or waiters putting an extra zero. So to me, the reason why I like that is because he understands that money comes and goes, but the integrity of whatever path you're going on needs to remain solid. So the broken toilets or the holes, so be it. I think it's fine. If anything, it will never lead to the destruction of ACTUM, because as everyone is gonna assume, we don't budget on. Our budget is not on can we afford this this duplex or fourplex, but it's can we sustain with our endowment all future repairs and damages on average. So we look at what the average cost of the worst scenario is, and we calculate that in so that it might build less units over time, but we never want to go bankrupt. So that's how slow we are. But again, what's better, doing it slow or nothing at all? You got
Turtle wins the race.
Yeah, turtle wins the race. Yeah.
I don't want to oversimplify, but that's the thing. Like, I could check my notes, but I'm not even sure I have so many like trick questions, or because you must get some already. But I'm a believer in what you're doing, right? So it's hard for me to come up with these hard questions or devastating questions or whatever. But like I have this in my notes, like that Monopoly analogy Michael did. Man, you were ecstatic, and I was too. I was like, oh my God, that's so crazy. I'm going to translate that and ask him for permission to use it. I mean, he gave you permission. I guess maybe it's going out to everybody. I'll just quote him or something, but I want to translate that one and use it for sure. Yeah, you spoke about people course selling. That was enraging. I'm absolutely in tune with that. Yeah, I mean, what would be the thing? It's not there, but another person I'd like for you to look into, maybe to listen to when you're just doing stuff that doesn't need all that brain power, is Sully Breaks.
Sully Breaks.
Yeah, he's a British guy also, I think, and he's a spoken word artist, like a slam artist.
Oh, okay.
And and his album called I think it's a Dorm Room EP is really, really, like, I was listening to that in a part of my life where I wasn't doing so well. And I mean, the guy's really, really inspiring and connects with, my ways of thinking. So yeah, look that guy out for sure. But my question would be like, what is the thing or the question or the thing you guys are afraid of, or that could make you go wrong, or that is unattainable, because I think, like me, you have this vision where going slowly ensures that it works on the scale that has to happen instead of what people would like it to be. So there isn't anything, but is there, like, me right now would be my health. Like if I'm sick, if I break something, a bone or something, like the mission's over. I can't, I don't have people on call ready to take over. But let's say in a year or two from now, when we're like 5, 6, 10 people going all around, yeah, sure, I could break something and take a leave or whatever, and it'd be okay. But what about you guys? Like, what would be the thing that you don't have an answer to, or the thing that would be like hard for you to overcome?
There's two things. The first is, how can we, without breaking the privacy of residents, ensure that they actually live in them? Because if we build, let's say, a 20-unit place in Mexico or New Delhi, India, I mean, have you seen the trains in India? There are so many people there that they can't even control any public area. If you have these free units, how can we actually have the security to make sure that the people who won the lottery weren't just killed and now a family of 8 live in it? It's sometimes in these countries a dog-eat-dog world. We're struggling because, of course, you know, you could have biometrics and fingerprint scanning for every doorknob, and you could have a camera or even a hired property manager, but you don't want to make people feel like this is some weird George Orwell apartment unit where you're just always on camera. So it's that is one of the things that we're always trying to figure out, is if we do provide these units in areas we can't oversee outside of California, we always want to go outside of US, how do we know that the people are living there? So that's something we just sit with all the time. New ideas for everything. So that's one. So we would absolutely be destroyed if we find out that the units
have been taken over by a cartel or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Literally the cartel, actually. Yeah. So there's that. And then the second thing is sort of absurd, but it is true, and everyone has to do a little bit of damage control and predict this outcome sometimes. But I think you did ask earlier, with AI, even bank statements can look fake. How do you take people on the journey and let them trust you? Well, what seems to be pretty popular is live streams. And I'm talking 6-hour live streams where people just watch creators and gamers speaking. And what does that do? It builds the audience. It lets them know what you're doing with your time. It's hard to AI that, especially when you're a public figure or a verified channel. It's just you playing Fortnite. And the threat, though, is we are trying to build ACTUM to a more personable brand, where it's not just about creating universal shelter. It's about the 3 of us failing. Like, it's incredibly hard. There are new problems every time, and they're absurd problems. Like, even just to say one example, like, we wanted so many people to be able to volunteer on Discord with their skills. Well, people spam Discord with like pornographic content or whatever it is, so we have to get a Discord mod to fix this. But there's also bigger things like the IRS thinking that universal shelter is not a charity. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to document our struggles and successes. So what's the threat? Here's the threat. Someone is a fucking pedophile. That is the threat. Because if we're making this a little bit about us, I don't want a stupid thing to come out to where you got caught with child porn. So it's this like fear of cancellation or anything bad. I know these guys since we're this tall, so I know they're good, but so many people ask to be an administrator and be a board member of ACTUM. And don't let them in. And so I don't know how people trust each other, especially when it's mostly calls. But like, you know, oh shit, my computer keeps going black. So yeah, so those are the 2 things, is one, how to ensure people are truly living in the units, and 2, making sure that no one's a pedophile, man, because that would wreck everything. Yeah. I'm serious.
Yeah, I know, 100%. I hear that. And I haven't linked the mission to that yet. That part of my life, I know a lot of my life struggle has been in part because of that. Becoming a dad had its ups and downs because of that. I was abused once when I was a child, right? From somebody who's kind of in the family, like adopted in my grandfather's family. And I went through whatever I had to go through, regarding that. But when you asked me before, what's driving me or whatever, and where did it came from, like there's the Spider-Man story for sure, it's true, and I just can't connect it to that. But I think maybe injustice, the injustice of it, like why me? That's one thing, and also the part where I feel bad that to this day I haven't done any legal steps for him to be recognized as right, as a pedophile. And the reason I hadn't done anything are that he was tried before and not convicted. So for me, that was a waste of time. I realized it that happened to me like 14 years later or 13 years later. So I was like 13 years down the road. How do you come up with that, and make it proof or whatever? Yeah. And then I just started talking about it with my mom and people and getting help. And, how do you say it? Not the psychiatrist, but the one before there, the less hard one, the
therapist. No,
therapist. Yeah. So I did the whole thing, right, and that helped a lot. And then the other reason why I didn't want to, bring him to court or whatever is because how sometimes stress can affect your health, and I was scared that me coming out to the open and dragging this out to the courts would affect the stress level on my grandparents' health and have them be sick, right? So I publicly talked about it for the first time like a year ago because my grandfather died, right? And I felt that my grandmother would not be aware of this coming out, and that if she would, she'd be okay with it because we had talked about it before. But I think I feel bad for all the kids who may have been his victims after me because I stayed silent. So maybe I'm touching on something I haven't touched before right now with you, is that maybe part of my mission is making this work for as many people, or as, legacy or whatever, to like some kind of redemption for not having done what I had to do before about this guy being a pedophile and trying to make him stop, right?
Wow.
So it's funny you come up with that word, and I'm all with you. And that's the reason why I'm not sending strangers to strangers' homes. And that's why everything, and you said the cancel culture, that's crazy. It's just crazy. Like you could make false accusation and stop someone from having a living, right? And they're false. And then you get disproven, but then the negative is so hard to erase that you're done. So that's also why I'm not talking so much, because my actions are undeniably good, but I could slip up and say something that hurts someone, or that is taken out of context or not interpreted in a certain way, and I'm done. I'm losing everyone, right? So it's the whole thing together that scares me.
Going back to what you were talking about with your grandmother and the situation you had as a child, are you saying that despite the reasons, the very valid reasons you had at the time not to speak up, you wish you did? Are you saying that is a regret or no?
I mean, I think I think in some way, because I believe in justice, right? But I believe also that the justice system that we have would have disappointed me, and that my rage would have been even worse. My feeling bad about it would have been worse. It would have been all collateral damage on top of whatever damage I had. It'll be, it would have been worse. It would have reactivated all that damage plus then some, right? So being that I went through what I went through, being that I did what I had to do, being that I even wrote a letter to him, saying I forgave him for what he did to me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that was part of one of the process I went through. And that's when my grandparents came to know about it, because what I forgot about when I wrote him a letter is that he can't read or write. He didn't go to school enough to read or write. So he called my grandfather, say, "Hey, brother, I got this letter. I'm not sure who it's from. I think it's maybe your grandson.
Gosh.
Could you come and help me read it?" So that's how my grandparents knew about it. Yeah, I'm laughing about it now, but it was
That
really,
is
really
so fucking Shakespearean.
Yeah.
For them to be the ones to reveal Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So yeah, there is this regret that I haven't gone through, but there's also this feeling that if I did, it wouldn't have done anything good for anyone in the long term, and that would have been even more of a, depression activating type.
Yeah.
The system is broken, frustration and going to war with it or whatever. So I don't know. I chose my calling and my way of acting otherwise, which is also all true and based on who I am anyways,
Yeah.
But there may be a link there that I have to explore one day.
Thanks
I'm
for
not
sharing.
hiding it. I'm just not sticking it together for now. But you
Thank
came up with that, and it's the same thing with me. Like, who can I let in to be representing? Like, we have this new law here because of the like all the data, people getting their data stolen, from banks or from hotels or whatever. We have this new law that I'm not even sure if my whole system actually right now is compliant. I'm doing my best, but I have zero knowledge in that type of thing, right? So I think I summed it up pretty good. But my fear is that if one day I ask, let's say, an assistant who's volunteer, could you call all my donators to say thanks, or call the ones who stopped paying to say, hey, is there a problem with your credit card? If you're leaving because you're leaving, fine, thank you so much, and just call them up and chat and have a human connection. I'm afraid some would say, hey, I didn't give you my information, I gave it to Pietro, where the hell is he, blah blah, and start problems, right?
I see.
So having people in the organization, like you said, that are hassle free, or ghosts in the closet free, skeletons in the closet free. That's also a good point that you brought up, that I'm like, oh yeah, I've been thinking about that without thinking about it, but it is a concern, right? Because you could be canceled for a various of unreasonable reasons, and all other reasonable, right?
By the way, is 10 minutes okay to keep going? I got 10 more minutes. Okay, good with you. Okay. Yeah, I remember Surya, him and I, we love chess. And when we were in high school, we said, why is there not a chess club? So all we did is we filed the chess club, and then we had to fundraise for chess pieces. And we spent our basically our sophomore, junior year getting these tournament-like pieces, hosting it in the library. Everyone would come. And then our senior year, we passed it down. And when we visited campus, we went back to the library and said, so how's the chess club going? Oh, the students, they lost all the pieces. They're gone. What? We sold hot Cheetos for like 2 years. Where did it all go? Oh, it's gone. Also, the president just never showed up to the meetings. Library didn't host. It was just shit. And so we're like, damn, there really is this paranoia about handing things off, even as simple as a Thursday chess club. Jesus, how hard could that be?
I know, it's past life experience. Yeah.
When you care about things, though, that's the level of paranoia you'll have. It's only natural.
And that's also the reason I'm going with altruism, is because, I mean, these mentors I have, like, they came in and they started asking me about my numbers, right? And I'm not a numbers guy. I'm like, I don't know. I got like 250 people donating. I think the average is $5, but it goes between 1 and 120. And they're like, okay, how many new donators you get every month or so? I'm like, I don't know. It depends. If my video goes viral and there's something I say that people hear and they want to donate, I get 10 in a week, but then I get 10 in 3 months. It depends. And he says, okay, I get it. And how much unsubscribe? I'm like, oh, that is maybe like, I don't know, one every 3-4 months. That's it. I'm like, yeah, there's no churn. No, why would there be? People are giving, expecting nothing in return. They get bonuses, they get videos, they get impact, they get sense of participating, of contribution. Why would they stop wanting that unless something goes terribly wrong and they can't afford $5 or $3 or $1 a month after that? So I do get churn, but I mean, not as much as anybody else who's just giving something in return because they're giving to give.
Mm.
and they feel good about themselves doing so, and they have proof that their money is being used towards what it's been meant for, you know. So I'm thinking, you know, that's also something that prevents the model from ever being, you know, abused, is that you cannot incite people to give with some type of present or carrot at, you know, on a stick, when the actual thing is, we're here, we're doing it. You could probably fake an AI video of me helping someone, but I really doubt it. I really doubt it. We're there, like, you know, helping a human, showing before and after, something's broken, something's repaired. The way I'm doing it, I'm not saying I'm a genius, but I'm thinking humans, helping humans, thanks to humans, showing it to humans. I mean, there's not a system or a currency or an AI that's going to replace that anytime soon, right? Even the robots you were talking about, like if the woman falls, yeah, he's going to take her up. But when is a robot going to be able to do like everything a human can dexterously, like with not tomorrow, right? So, and we used to live, and that was part of my pitch. We used to live in a society where, let's say, I don't know if in your culture or whatever, but families would be like maybe 12 kids in one household or one family, and then the next door would be cousins, and then grandparents, you know. And but the way things worked back then, I think, is that it's not like mom and dad took care of everything. You know, dad took care of whatever business he had to do, mom took care of the household, but every single child has had its own responsibility to make everybody and everything function, right? They weren't just playing PlayStation and saying, "Mom, where's dinner? Where's my brother?" You know, everybody had their part to play. I feel society should come back to that, because my mom's like 45 minutes away. My sister's an hour and 45 minutes away. My dad's 45 minutes away. My family-in-law is 1 hour and 15 minutes away. All that because society is so expensive and wants to tear us apart so they can keep on capitalizing on our sufferances, that it's made that way. So altruism makes everyone part of a bigger family and wanting to do more for them. That's the way I feel about it, right?
And maybe too, on this point, that's actually such a good point. Now that you say where all the families live, they are at least 20 miles apart, actually. That's a really good point. Okay, you know those videos that's it's a setup. They go to the grocery store and they say, hey, I need $5. And then the customer goes, I'm broke. I don't got shit. And then they turn the camera and their best friend goes, oh, I'll give you $20. And then the reaction is on the person who didn't give the money. Okay, as much as people like laugh about that guy who didn't give the money, I totally empathize with that guy. I totally empathize with the selfishness of needing to take care of yourself. I get it. I actually don't know why he's getting so much hate when that's probably what you guys would have done if you were asked. But I guess here's the point is he's in that person's life who's not giving. He's been through a series of circumstances, cornered into one sort of mode. And we cannot take that as the example of human beings, because altruism might actually be more pure and natural than we think. Because if you starve me of food for 3 or 4 days, I'm going to be an asshole. I'm going to be cranky. And one person on the internet will see, look at Christian Ventura's true nature. Okay, but look at my true nature when I'm well fed and I have clothes and I have abundance. There is nothing left for me to do but to give. So it's, where is this actual criteria? Is it on the natural state of human beings when we rob them? Because a lot of sympathy needs to go out to the people who are selfish and don't give. I think that there's a high chance they are givers if you just get them out of earning their own survival. So I hate it. It's the biggest pet peeve when people are like, yeah, but your true nature is in war. When Napoleon fought the Russians, what did they do? They ate horses and they ate other men. Yes, but what's happening in New York in the same snow? You know what people are doing in New York? My friend sent me a video. They're getting surfboards and sliding down the snow. Everyone's happy. The families, they're throwing snowballs. It's amazing. Both of them are humanity. Where are we going to judge? So both are true at the same time. There's no end all be all. This is human nature.
100%. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the best of us comes out when we're in the best conditions, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Or in harsh conditions that we feel that sticking together is going to help. Like, you know, it was all over the media when it was the pandemic. Oh, people are helping their neighbors. Da, da, da. Okay, where are they now? Now that they're back in their jobs and that making money is the priority,
Mm-hmm.
where are they helping others? They're not anymore because they have to make ends meet, right? Because the system is making us struggle for that money, like you said. Yeah.
I have to throw this in there. I know we're gonna go, but I have to throw this in there because it wasn't able to be articulated properly with Michael. But this is plugging ACTUM, okay? But there's Pietro, there's a definition of life that is going to be unveiled when people get free shelter. Because I said it on his podcast, but to reiterate, a Texas man who I spoke to, I said, would you take free shelter? He said, no, because if I get a free home, I no longer could provide for my family. And I said, huh? And he goes, well, I'm a man. That's my job. So what we're trying to figure out, and you could only imagine it because it's never been done, but we're imagining, how are people's definition of masculinity or femininity going to play a role when providing is out of the question? And also, what kinds of conversations, ideas, and jobs would be created, or even a new art form? We have cinema, we have painting, we have writing. What is going to happen when enough people are staring at the wall with nothing to do, or they're doom scrolling and they have nowhere to be? What is going to happen? And something we haven't cracked in the timeline of existing is there. And when you take care of people with shelter, you actually crack open the yolk. What's that yolk? Is it going to be a new form of masculinity? Is it going to be a new form of altruism? It's so we don't know. Mm-hmm. Maybe we did know, but the history got burned in the Library of Alexandria.
yeah, maybe,
right.
Yeah, exactly. There was once, yeah. But it's been erased because it wasn't profitable. Yeah, because we can't get into that. But there was all this thing about the red dot, you know, like
yeah.
People That's wanting to stop us and all that. But yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, we're in tune for that. And you say shelter because you know that's the biggest thing we need to feel safe. But we're also working on the peace of mind, which is what I'm bringing, like to the people, the type of people I'm helping is the people who once I've been there. Their choice or their resource or their lacking resource is resolved, their needs are answered, and they find that peace of mind. I am helping people who stay in problematic situations, but most what I'm putting forward and the people I'm trying to help is that people that is resolved, and they could go maybe a year or two before feeling stuck again, right? Because that was weighing on them and it's no longer weighing on them. So you're going for peace of mind with shelter, which is a basic need and lifetime. I'm going for this one moment where I give you peace of mind for maybe the rest of your life, maybe for weeks, maybe for months, but because that's what I'm able to do right now. And then the vision is to do more as yours is, you know, to grow. So yeah.
We're in tandem like this, man.
For sure. I don't know what and how we're going to use this, you know, taping, but for sure, I mean, just if it was just for me and you, I really enjoyed the conversation, the opportunity. I think maybe in a few years, we're going to look back and say, yeah, change, world changing people, you know, found each other through the web, like LA, Montreal, and we're doing it, man. We're doing it.
Cool,
so
man. Cool.
Thanks for your time. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. I also think you're pretty awesome, man. Thanks for what you do. Very, very cool. I don't know what to say now. I'm getting shy because I like you a lot. All right, cool. All right, cool. I don't know what to do. All right, should I just go? Okay.
No, don't run away. No, but let's say we do it again. Let's say we keep in touch.
Hell yeah, man. I got to work on my French too. Not too big of a deal, but you said your audience is primarily French.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
For now. So
but it's Quebec French too.
Yeah, but that's okay. They'll get any French you could come up with, and we could do that again. And at that time, I'll make sure that you know it starts out all about you. Now it's just mingling me and you, because you know maybe a bit about me, I know a bit about you. It's not something where we're promoting each other so much, but next time it could be, promoting you to the French audience. And if I ever, step up my game and do English content, maybe you could do the same for me, just to make missions boom,
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I'd love to.
All right.
Love to.
You're my people. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Pietro. Nice to meet you. Good talk, bro. Okay.
Yes,
bye-bye.
thanks. Bye.